Good morning and welcome back to the Empowering Minds Mental Health Podcast. Today, I have Miss Sabrina Osso, and she is the founder and CEO of Osso Safe. Feel safe where you live, work, and play. She is a TEDx speaker, author, and real estate agent on promoting safety and preventing violence in the workplace, schools, and in places of residence. Her personal and professional experience with the subject allows her to bring a unique and holistic approach as a solution. She is also a professional dancer, teacher, who uses her performance abilities to educate on the subject. As a real estate agent, Sabrina is bridging the real estate industry with Oso Safe. Thank you for agreeing to come on today.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you. Sounds like you wear a lot of hats, and so I know you're busy. So we're going to go ahead and get started with our questions, okay?
Sure, sure,
All right. So, what inspired you to start Oh So Safe and give your TEDx talks?
sure. Osso Safe actually was born out of a one-woman show that I wrote, choreographed, and performed. And I've had enough therapy. I've been in and out of therapy for quite some time to be comfortable to say that I am a survivor of violence. My father beat my mother on a regular basis. My mother would beat me, so I know firsthand how difficult that is to live in that type of environment. Dance, I couldn't even say dance in my home. I couldn't talk about it. It was a forbidden thing. So I started late dancing. But I live close proximity to New York. So once I moved out, I was free in every way possible. I'm a heavy duty clubber. I was anyway. New York City club scene. I love the club scene. Um, so that was very big, and it felt so freeing and healing, and I was free to dance. I was in my glory. And as I stated, Oh So Safe was born out of a one-woman show called Home Sweet Home question mark. I play different women being abused. She goes to her good place. That's where the dancing comes in. But then she's pulled back into the terror of violence. The show ends really strong, really empowering. And Jennifer, I did a lot of research for the show, and I could not believe the statistics that I was finding. So I said to myself, I need to make this into a business, a bona fide business with products and services that could really help people. We're not a charity, we're not a nonprofit. We respect all of the charities and nonprofits that deal with domestic violence. We prefer to say home violence because it's more inclusive. Um,
Mhm.
Domestic violence has such a stigma that it is a woman's problem, and clearly it is not. And secondly, it assumes that all of the victims are female, and that's not true
Mhm.
either. So we prefer to say home violence. It's more inclusive. And that's how Oso Safe was born, really. And also, I want to mention it's a big focus on children, the safety of children, giving them voice and choice, not just, oh, let's empower the kids. We feel that we do a lot more than just what's on the outside. You know, we dig deeper, it's more risk, it's more getting your hands dirty, if you will, really empowering kids. And we could talk about that more when we talk about the book.
Mhm.
But yeah, so I hope I answered the question.
You did, and thank you for sharing a bit of your life story because it shows resilience. And it seems like, now, well, let me ask you this. So, through dance, was that therapeutic and part of your healing journey so that you were able to kind of share or feel more free and like sharing your story?
For sure. Um, Well, I know a lot of people that they use dance to uh like as they were growing up. I couldn't do that.
Mm-hmm.
As I was growing up, I wasn't one of those 3, 4, 5-year-olds where I had one of my parents or a family member bring me to dance class.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, my parents would not hear of it. I couldn't even mention it. So but once I moved out, I was free, and I was free to dance. And I that was always in my DNA. I always wanted to dance. But and then I first was clubbing and I was taking dance classes simultaneously, and it was so therapeutic, healing. It was. And I was getting in, we like to say it, or we say it also safe, you spend your adulthood healing from your abusive childhood.
Yes.
So so whatever it is, and your life is stolen from you by your abusive parents, abusive step parents. So you have to heal from that, and you're kind of taking back what was stolen from you. So I couldn't dance typically like everybody else or so many people like 3, 4, 5 years old. I didn't start dancing till I was 21. So I lost all of that time, and I had to take teachers that really propelled me and believed in me, even though I was 21 or early 20s. So, but it was healing. It was so freeing. It was so, I was in my glory. I just, there's something about dance. If you're an artist in any way, you're a singer, actor, dancer, you play an instrument,
Mhm.
painting, sculpturing, poetry. There's something about the arts, especially performing arts, and
Mhm.
most specifically dance, that's so, it's just so freeing and so it's healing, and you want to share that, and it's deep.
It is. It is. I get it. I started with music very young, 3 or 4 years old, all throughout elementary, high school, college, and even now. You are right. It's something with music that's very therapeutic for me. I don't care what it is I may be facing or going through. Music always, it just like it resets me. And it is very therapeutic.
That's a good way to put it. It resets you. Yes, I like that. I like that. Yeah, you understand.
I do. I do. All right. So my next question for you, what are some common myths about home violence and respect?
Yes, excellent question. Excellent question. And I thought long and hard about this, about my business, how I wanted to create it. The single most important ingredient in a safe home, when we talk about safety, and I'm not talking about, well, the heat has to work, the air conditioning has to work, the window guards have to be up. You don't want your child to fall out of the window, obviously. Fire codes have to be met. But when it comes to safety, as in your space, your that it's not violent, there's no abuse, there's no chaos, there's no dysfunction. When you put that key into your lock, you feel like I'm home. It's your sanctuary. You're not entering a war zone like so many of us have had to.
Mhm.
The key ingredient is respect. When you have respect in a home that's practiced every day, and we're not saying everything is peachy key, everything is perfect. A good home, a safe home means that there's no fighting, no conflict. Of course, you're going to get into arguments with your spouse, your significant other, your children, even. but it never crosses the line of abuse, not verbal, physical, sexual abuse ever.
Mhm.
There's always respect. There's a way to fight. There's a way to disagree. There's a way to be like, well, you say it's red, but I say it's blue. But that's respectful. It's not that you're putting the person down, throwing things at them, get out of the house, or beating them. Respect is the most important ingredient that we feel is the formula for a safe home. So I want to say that as far as myths, um, a lot of people think that, you're a parent, you can do whatever you want to your child for discipline. And I'm here to say that is a myth. Abuse instills fear, and discipline instills education. There's a big difference. So I hear abusive parents say, well, I'm disciplining my child. No, no, you're not. You're not. This is not coming from a place of education. You are instilling fear, panic, control. You got to listen to me. These are my rules. uh, there's a big difference between abuse and discipline. So that's a myth that we like to say at Osso Safe, just because you are a parent, it doesn't give you the right to abuse your child. And another myth is we think, or many of us think, that the courts, the laws, judges, child protective service agencies take care of all of that. Whenever there are problems with children, abuse. Jennifer, I am here to say that is such a myth. And I could do another podcast, another show,
Mhm.
hours worth to debunk those myths. I can tell you from personal and professional experience, the laws, the courts, the judges, child protective service agencies, they make horrible matters even worse. So, um, and it's about, we focus at Also Safe empowering the children, giving them voice and choice, have them speak out on behalf of their own abuse, because the courts are not going to do it, the judges are not going to do it, child protective services are not going to do it, and even to a certain extent, schools are not going to do it. They cater to the abusive parents and
Yeah.
abusive step parents. That's your mom and dad, that's your stepmom, your stepdad. Uh, that's it. Case closed. Boom. And I'm sorry, but that is such a myth and a disservice.
Mhm.
You are all of those things that I mentioned condemn children to a life of abuse unnecessarily. And to wait until they're 18 years of age for them to have agency over their lives, that's another myth or a misconception. It's too late. It's too late, because you wait until then, you those kids will resort to drugs, alcohol, gang
Mhm.
violence, self-harm, cutting. They will get involved with the wrong people, friendship wise, relationship wise, and ultimately suicide. They'll commit suicide. So I hope I answer the question as far as myths and respect and home violence.
Yes, you did. And you hit some key points because I think it was on Facebook some time ago. I remember someone had shared a meme and it said something kind of similar to like um my parents spanked me with the belt and I came out just fine. Yeah, that's that's just
Yeah, no, you
that's just
didn't.
not no,
No,
you
you
really
didn't.
didn't turn out fine because you are right. Those that's just abuse. That's not discipline. And it does teach children to become fearful. And sometimes when they are fearful, that will lead to them telling lies
Right.
because of fear.
Excellent point.
Yeah. And so here, and you're right. Here you are as a a grown adult in age, but you're still battling childhood trauma and still demonstrating some of these same behaviors. You still have fear.
Right,
Yeah. And that teaches you sometimes to maybe not make the best choices as an adult.
right.
Yeah. And
Yes,
then, yeah. And then the other point you
excellent
made,
point.
yes, like older generations, for example, it could be maybe you had a sister or brother who maybe they weren't so nice to you. Maybe they were a little like verbally aggressive or verbally abusive. And the older generation, your grandparents or your parents, they would say things like, well, that's your sister and that's your brother. And that's teaching you to like accept
Take it.
what, yeah, that's not
Take it.
healthy. Right, right.
Just take it. Right,
And
right,
yes, and I think that's how sometimes people may end up in the wrong relationships or falling in love with because that's what
right.
they're used to.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they're going to continue the cycle and you're teaching them that physical violence or verbal, physical, sexual abuse even is normal.
Yep.
This is how it's done in our family.
Mm-hmm.
I have to learn, I have to teach, I have to be taught a lesson. Spanking is so detrimental, and I should know my mother would spank me. I mean, she would beat me. Looking back, I thought I'm Italian. And this crosses over many ethnicities, many nationalities, where, I would say even Hispanic or African or um, even Asian, Italian. Well, that's how we were raised. That's how we
Yeah.
were raised. My mother would get a shoe and beat me with it, bite me, smack me on my face. I mean, when I think about it, that's abuse. It's abuse. And children, I'm so glad to see on social media that, and I see what you said with the
Mm-hmm.
post. I know exactly which post you're talking about,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll actually comment and I'll say, you're mistaken. I'm sorry, but you're mistaken. And that shows that you're doing the same thing to your children, and they're going to continue the cycle of abuse. Um, there's so many parents that are really making the effort to not continue that, to
Mm-hmm.
really talk to their children. They're disciplining them, but they're doing it in a way that is respectful.
Yes.
They are really asking them questions. What's bothering you? Okay, we don't hit in this house. When you're ready to talk to me, I'm going to be right here. So when you're ready, because I'm not going to allow you to talk to me like that. I'm giving an example of the
Mm-hmm.
parent talking to the child when the child throws a tantrum. And there's so many studies saying that when your child is screaming and they throw themselves to the floor, first of all, I want to say, let's look at if that child is doing that, well, that's probably from the parents fighting.
Mm-hmm.
Like look at the parents first. That's probably the parents fighting, being aggressive with each other, and the child is upset about that, but they don't
Mm-hmm.
know how to say it. And then, secondly, that child maybe needs to be fed, maybe
Yep.
needs to be hugged, maybe needs to be read a book, maybe wants to tell you they had a bad day at school,
Mm-hmm.
but they don't know how to say it really. Maybe bullying, maybe
Yeah.
they were bullied and they don't know how to say it. So dig deeper, ask questions, sit down with your kid and really connect with them.
Yes.
So I'm so glad you said that with that post.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, in your background, I see your book. And so how can your children's book help both kids and adults when it comes to respect and safety?
Yes, yes, thank you so much. Yeah, I'm so proud of this book. We've been getting a lot of positive feedback. Um, the book is a tool, and we're doing some this is a staple in Osso Safe certified properties. Our core product is the Osso Safe certification for properties, where we resolve the problem of violence and abuse right in the home, right in
Mhm.
residency. We're introducing this into the real estate industry. So the book is a staple. It'll be in every household, we feel. So in the book, I talk very openly about abuse. And I say the difference between abuse and non-abuse, respect and disrespect. I don't know if you can see
Mhm.
respect. I say the important thing is that everybody in your home needs to be safe and respect one another and not abuse one another. Disrespect, abuse is when someone hurts you or someone you live with in your house. This is disrespect and this is dangerous for you and everybody in your house. Abuse is when someone in your house makes you feel really yucky and scared.
Mhm.
So I really break it down and I try to explain in a way that kids of all ages can really identify with. And I explain something about this is not where it's not their fault. This is not good. And as kids, it's not your fault. Whoever is not being safe in your home is wrong and they need to do better. And then I introduce the concept of know that for the moment, which means right now, you are safe.
Mhm.
Should just introduce that because I never had that as a kid. I I was always in alarm mode, war zone mode, urgency mode,
Mhm.
24/7. I'm not even exaggerating. And if you come from abuse, you understand that.
Mhm.
And then something that is important about the book, I say to kids, think about who you feel safe with. Maybe you do feel safe with mom and dad. Maybe you don't. So think about who you feel safe with. Maybe
Mhm.
it's aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend. And this is what I introduce with the book. And I say to them, when you're ready, speak out. So I'm encouraging them. I'm introducing something called the Osso Safe Kids Cheer, and it goes like this. I want to live where I am Osso Safe, and I am Osso Safe with, and they get to fill in the blank, whoever
Mhm.
that is, an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend, if they feel comfortable. Now, we realize that it's only if you feel safe with them. And this is when mom and dad are abusive, stepmom and stepdad are abusive.
Mhm.
So basically, you're alone. But if you
Yeah.
have an aunt, an uncle, a grandparent, a close family friend that wants to take you in, speak up, kids. Speak up.
Mhm.
Say who that is. We know it's scary. And if it's not today, that's okay. I say that in the book. And I also introduce some techniques of breathing,
Mhm.
like when the fighting stops, go to a safe space in your home or apartment and breathe like this. Breathe in, hold it at the top for four counts, and then let it all out. And just to introduce that to them, to ground them to the present moment,
Mhm.
because these kids that live with abuse that are not safe at home, they have the weight of the world on their shoulders.
Mhm.
These poor kids. And so we're introducing all of these concepts in the book and to empower them, to give them voice and choice. And then at the we trust kids. I say, you know who makes you feel safe and free and respected and good. You kids know. So to trust that, because I guess another myth is, oh, kids are stupid or kids don't know, their brains are not developed.
Uh,
That's
It's
a
kind
myth.
of, yeah.
Yeah, their brains are not developed to drive a car at 4 years old. But rest assured, from teeny tiny, they know who makes them feel safe. They
Yes,
don't
they
even
do.
have to talk.
Mhm.
Pets know who make them feel safe, and they can't talk.
Hmm.
So if pets know, certainly children know. So
Yeah.
believe them, trust them. Let's get them to that person. Enough of the waiting till 18 years of age. It's too late.
Yes. Yes. You've made some very valid points. And this book, too, from a parent's perspective, I think it would be good for parents who have younger children. I'm talking about like 2 years old to start early, just learning to develop that respectful language. And yeah. So with me saying that, I want to know, is your book, is it Barnes and Noble, Amazon? How can people get your book? I want a copy of it.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Jennifer. Amazon for sure.
Okay.
Amazon.com. You just search Sabrina Osso. It's my only book. So it'll
Okay.
come up. And the title of it is Home Safe Home for You and Me. But Amazon, just Sabrina Osso. And I've seen it on a number of other bookstore online platforms.
Mhm.
I think Barnes and Nobles is one of them, which makes me so happy. I'm like, oh, and like these kind of underground bookstore platforms in
Mhm.
a way. I don't know if the term is underground, but they're yeah, I see it there, and that's a great point. For adults, I think the book is very beneficial, like you said, to just lay the groundwork for
Mhm.
respect, and that, you know, I know there are a lot of aunts, uncles, grandparents, close family friends that suffer when they see a child that they care about at the hands of an abusive parent. This book will help them to talk to the child and empower them. And I say on the back, to grandparents, parents, and teachers, use this book as a tool to educate yourselves and the children in your
Mhm.
lives about how important it is to practice respect and safety in the home, which you basically said. You just
Mhm.
basically said it.
All right. Well, I want to leave these last few minutes for you. If you want to share like your contact information or anything that resonates with you that you want the viewers who will watch this later on, something that you want to stand out to them.
Sure, sure. Thank you so much,
Mhm.
Jennifer. The website is ososafe.com. We are on all the major social media platforms, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Um, we TikTok and YouTube is dedicated for kids, strictly. Also Safe Kids. YouTube and TikTok, and and we talk about abuse. We talk about warning signs of a bad relationship, what constitutes a good relationship, bullying. It's not your fault if dad is beating up mom or mom is beating up dad or you're getting attacked by mom, dad, stepmom, stepdad. We talk openly about all of these things on TikTok and YouTube. Um, and the book is on, like I mentioned, Amazon.com, uh, and also other platforms, as I mentioned. So those would be the best ways to find us. Um, and I want to say we all deserve to be in a good relationship, as I mentioned, and it's worth repeating. Just because you are a parent, it doesn't give you the right to abuse your child. Um, and I want to say that pornography is a big driver of violence, huge. So we need to make children aware of this because children are exposed to pornography as young as 8, 9, 10 years old, which is alarming. So, and we're not talking about erotica. Erotica is sexual freedom, that's different, but pornography, BDSM, that stands for bondage, domination, sadism, and masochism, very bad, very dangerous. It's in line with sex trafficking,
Mhm.
child rape, and both men and women commit these acts. So a lot of people think that it's always men. I'm here to tell you that's not the case. Women, the The glamorous word is a financial dominatrix. She's a BDSMer and she's abusive. So I say this because kids need to be aware that it's out there and that they need to not participate. They need to know that this is not a normal relationship
Mm-hmm.
with anybody that they date. And we talk about this on the TikTok and YouTube. So um, it's very important to know, to just be aware. So thank you for the opportunity, Jennifer. Thank you. And therapy. Oh yeah, I want to say because your podcast is about mental health, right?
Mm-hmm.
Empowering minds, mental health. Therapy is a big we believe in therapy. We are big advocates of therapy.
Yes.
And we and not all therapists are created equal. So you may have to try on a few for size,
Mm-hmm.
until you find the right one. Let that be okay. But we are big proponents of therapy. In fact, it's part of the certification. So yeah, so as we say at Osso Safe, there's no shame in getting help. There's shame in not getting help.
Yes. Okay. Well, thank you for that. I will be in contact with you soon. And again, thank you for coming on because you coming on today helps me to continue to spread awareness and break stigmas around mental health and wellness in general. So I thank you so much for coming on. But again, I'll be in contact with you soon to give you all the links and everything that you need.
Wonderful. Thank you so much,
Again,
Jennifer. Thank you
okay.
for the opportunity.
Thank you. You have a great one. Take
You
care.
too.
Thank you.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.